Airports are typically a very safe place, but not this airport. This is Gibraltar Airport. It is widely considered one of the weirdest and most dangerous airports in Europe. Next to it is a giant mountain that sometimes catches the clouds. There are constant winds from every direction and the runway is quite short, making landing a plane there an actual challenge. And on top of everything I just said, it has a pedestrian crossing. That's right, you can walk right onto the runway as long as the barriers are lowered. So today I'm gonna be going there and seeing how dangerous it actually is. But first we have to somehow get there. Traveling there was actually pretty straightforward. You get it straight like the Strait of Gibraltar, never mind. The plan for today after arriving is walking to the cable car station, taking the cable car to the skywalk at the top, and of course going to the plane spotting balcony, which is about 40 minutes away from the skywalk. Getting to Gibraltar involved a Ryanair flight from Sofia to Malaga and then a quick drive to La
Línea de la Concepción,
right next to the border. After I arrived, I went through passport control and then of course followed the runway crossing. It actually feels illegal and so surreal just walking onto an airport's runway. Oh look, and you can also see the planes parked over there. Also, as I was walking, I noticed that the asphalt on the runway was jagged perpendicular to the runway's direction. If any of you knows why that is, please let me know in the comments, alright? So after crossing the runway, I headed towards the cable car station. However, I'm now realizing that there's a slight chance that I might not be able to plane spot from the top. See, this airport isn't like most international airports that have loads of flights every single hour. It usually gets about 3 to 4 arrivals and departures per day. And the last departure for today is scheduled at 1:30 PM, which means that if I don't make it to the top before 1:30, I might miss the last departure and therefore not be able to film it. So we gotta hurry. However, right as I got to the cable car station, it turned out that it was closed for maintenance. The only way up was a 2-hour hike to the top. Better get going. As I was climbing higher and higher on the Rock of Gibraltar, yes, it's literally called the Rock of Gibraltar, I met some locals, and by locals I mean the monkeys. Monkey with massive teeth! There were so many of them everywhere that there was even a warning sign, but they honestly didn't care much about us at all. They were just chilling there and doing, whatever monkeys do, I don't know. I tried to keep my belongings away from them though, because they're known for stealing tourist items like food, glasses and even their shoes. Anyways, I was able to reach the skywalk at around 12:50, which means that I now have exactly 40 minutes until the plane I want to film departs. Would I make it in time? I was starting to worry that I might actually miss this plane and that I have climbed all the way up here for nothing. I passed right under the cable car that I was supposed to take and then the runway started slowly appearing in front of me. Eventually I made it to a spot where the runway crossing was visible, but the eastern side of the runway was not. The actual spot I wanted to go was about 6 minutes away. However, while I was getting ready to go there, I heard the plane turning on its engines, so I had to start running in order to catch it. I made it there just in time as the plane was preparing to taxi, but then I realized that I forgot to bring my tripod here. So I had to rely on my steady hands to film this takeoff and to not drop my camera from the cliff, which I was really scared of, because it's around a 120-meter drop, or for the Americans watching, about 400 feet. But now, before the plane starts moving, the police of course have to carefully inspect the runway and check if there's anything that might prevent the aircraft from taking off, i.e. foreign object damage, which I've talked about in one of my shorts. After this, the plane went on and took off. However, before opening the gates for the pedestrians, the police thoroughly inspected the runway once more, which was probably to see if it's safe for the people to walk there. Following that, the gates opened and the cyclists and pedestrians started entering. Seeing the plane taking off from the runway I was just walking on a few hours ago was one of the most surreal moments that I've ever experienced in my life. Gibraltar definitely lived up to the hype, at least for me. I'd absolutely recommend you to go there, if you have the chance of course. Thank you so much for watching until the end and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!